Hi folks, as I'm recording this, it is early July. I'm in North Florida, and so far it has been an unusually hot and humid, even for Florida summer. It looks like we're going to get a little bit of a break of that this week, but the runs have been a real slog, and I know that that's the same in a lot of the U.S., that it's hot and or humid. So I thought I'd talk about some tips, if I could talk, tips to survive running in the heat and humidity. So first and foremost, I think the most important thing is you've got to make sure you're well hydrated, and hydration is a daily thing. You've got to be hydrated all day long, every day. It isn't just something you think about in your runs, but we're going to talk about that, but something you need to think about every day and all day long, and make sure you're getting some electrolytes in there as well. When you're sweating a lot, you're losing a lot of those minerals out of your body, so make sure that you're getting some electrolytes in your hydration. But tip one, most important, you have got to stay hydrated. Now, a couple more things on hydration. One, think about your AM hydration. So what do I mean by your AM hydration? If you'd like to try a little test, weigh yourself before you go to bed. Doesn't matter if you're wearing clothing or not, but you're going to do the same thing when you get up in the morning. Try and weigh yourself the same way. So if you weigh yourself with a shirt on, then weigh yourself in the morning with the shirt on. You'll probably be amazed, if you haven't done that before, how much weight you lose overnight. And that weight that you're losing is water weight. Every time you breathe, there's moisture that's coming up. You tend to sweat, imperceptibly when you're in bed, especially when it's hot and humid. You might have a fan running and things like that. But you lose a lot of hydration overnight. So make sure that when you get up, you're getting yourself rehydrated right away. If you're not doing that and you're a morning runner, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to start your run in a slightly dehydrated state because of the amount of water you've lost overnight. And then make sure you're focusing on your run hydration. Now, I can talk about me. Everybody's a little bit different. Typically, if my run is going to be less than an hour, I usually don't worry about having any water or any type of hydration during that run because it's a fairly short distance. I can tell you right now, I'm taking water with me on 25 and 30-minute runs. And the reason for that is I've done the sweat test where you weigh yourself before you go out, kind of like you do for the bedtime. You weigh yourself before you go run. You weigh yourself when you're done. You add in any water, subtract any water you might have taken. And even in 3 or 4 miles, I can easily lose 1 or 2 pounds of water through sweat in a very short period of time. So I'm always carrying water, so I want to make sure I'm staying hydrated during that run. If you're like that at all, you might find that you need to hydrate in a different manner than you do the rest of the year. Always important to adjust your pace or maybe even just run by effort. The reality of it is, if you've got a particular pace in mind and it's 75 degrees and 85% humidity, you're going to have to adjust that pace or even just run by effort. If that's an easy pace for you, just run easy. If you don't adjust the pace, usually your run is going to suffer and you're going to suffer, so you adjust for the conditions. Now, in general, people either run in the morning or the evenings. The benefit of running in the morning, and there's more than just this, the temperature is usually going to be lowest in the morning. You're probably not going to have any sun, depending upon when in the morning you get out. Even if the sun is up, it might not be direct yet because it's fairly early. But humidity tends to be the highest in the morning. On the other hand, you could run in the evening. But generally speaking, the temperature is going to be higher in the evening. Depending when you run, there's probably still not going to be any sun, but the humidity tends to be the lowest in the evening. So depending upon it, whether it's heat, humidity, which bothers you more, if you're used to running in the morning, then maybe running in the evenings is going to give you a little bit of relief, or vice versa. Take a look at the clothing that you're wearing. It amazes me. I don't want to judge anybody. I don't know why they're doing it, but I'll see people out running in capris, black clothing, heavier looking clothing, and maybe that's right for that individual. But in general, I want to wear as little clothing as I possibly can. I want to make sure that it's the wicking fibers that are taking the moisture away from me. In fact, a lot of times I won't even run with a shirt just to get that sweaty shirt off of me. But look at your clothing, look at the color, make sure you're wearing some lightweight clothing. This probably makes sense to everybody, but take a look at the route. Not all routes are created equal. Especially if there's going to be a little bit of sun. Certainly finding a route with some shade is going to help. Maybe you can get a little breeze on one route or another. Or there might be some routes where the heat tends to get trapped. I did a 5K the other day. We had a very light breeze in our face as we were running out. But then we turned and came back. And on the route that you came back, there was about maybe a third of a mile. It was like being stuck in a heat tunnel. Just the position of the houses, trees, whatever. It didn't allow for any breeze at all. So take a look at the route that you're running. You might consider doubles. So maybe 12 miles is just too much for you to get done in a day. Maybe you're just spent after that. Well, you could split that. You could run, say, 8 in the morning and 4 in the evening. You could split it in some other fashion. Normally, the first run when you do doubles like that is a little bit longer, but it could be 6 and 6. It could be whatever that you want. Now, people will say, wait a minute, isn't a 12-mile run better? A 12-mile run is probably better, but if you can't slug through the 12 miles, or those last couple miles you're just spent, then that run isn't doing you any good. So there's nothing wrong with splitting it. If you need to, you might want to consider running some doubles on those really hot days. And then finally, I have not succumbed to this yet, but there's always the dreadmill, or the treadmill if you want to call it that. Obviously, if you're on a treadmill, you've got temperature control. It's usually going to be room temperature. You can run a fan on yourself. The humidity is going to be lower when it's inside. So just as people in the north, a lot of times will go to the treadmill when it's really cold. If you're dealing with really hot and humid weather, then the treadmill might be a choice for you. But more than anything else, just make sure that if you're running in this heat, humidity, be smart and be safe.